The Windows 10 end of life is approaching, less than 1 month away. Are you ready? Well, there is another Linux distribution which some people do prefer over Linux Mint. And I'm going to tell you at the end why I like to keep Linux Mint. But the other Linux distribution does have a new beta out, and it does have some very nice, compelling reasons to consider. And so this is, of course, Zorin OS. Thanks for checking out this video by Switched to Linux. If you like this type of content, leave us a like and a comment down below, and also subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. And we are going to be talking about Zorin OS today briefly. We are going to look at this page again over on the we'll go ahead and get this installed onto a real machine. I'm going to show you what that looks like over there on real hardware. But just really briefly, the new Zorin 18 is on the verge of coming out. The beta has dropped last week, and they do have a lot of nice, compelling reasons, which we're going to go ahead and get into those on the actual install. You can go ahead and download Zorin. They have a number of options. The Pro version is a paid version. It comes with a lot of extra software, and it does come with more extra desktop layouts. So that is actually something, and you can buy that $47.99 with plus sales tax to get the Zorin Pro, which is a really good way to support a good Linux distribution. Of course, if you're just on the basic, simple, free one, I would encourage you to support the Linux distribution that you are using. They do have a core for just some basic use, and they have the education, which has some educational software tools and things like that. And having a look at the different systems that we have, you can see that there's a number of different options for you. And of course, that Pro has pretty much everything except the educational apps and games there. And everything else looks good. If you are into checking your checksums, and I encourage everybody to do that, you can grab those over there. And there was some question. The beta's checksum is also over here. So the current one, which is available for download on the download mirrors, is also available there as well. And you can grab older ones, although there is a little bit of a warning on that. So you can click in on your download mirrors, just find a mirror closest to you, and then this is going to land you to a page like this. The current production is 16, so you can go ahead and download. There's the light, educational, core, things like that. Of course, under the 18, this is where you will find the beta version of it. So you can see that there is that beta version that you can go ahead and download now as well. Go ahead and check those checksums. And we are going to spend this time now. We're going to jump on over into the desktop. I have installed it. We're going to look at it on real hardware on my MSI laptop, and then I'm going to walk through some things. Then we'll wrap it up at the end here. Here we are over on the desktop. Now we are installing this on real hardware, and I'm running this on a external USB drive on my MSI laptop. So you can see here we have the full resources, no virtualization here. We're connected to my Wi-Fi. Yes, it is called the FBI surveillance van. And you can see that it also sees the Bluetooth, and we have power modes. So we can do a balance to performance or a power savings. Here's airplane mode. We can toggle dark styles, and we have our Zorin Connect down there in the settings menu. We also have the audio over here, and you can click on this and choose where your audio settings are going from. So that's a nice improvement over some of the earlier versions of GNOME. Now we are running this on Wayland. That is the default. As of this version, the 18 beta, we still have the option to log in under X as well. And I debated about doing that and using Simple Screen Recorder because I think it does work better, but I decided I'd go ahead and use it as they give us the default with Wayland. So we are using Blue Recorder here as the recorder, as that's the recorder I found that works best under Wayland. Although, yes, there are some gripes with that. So I do want to talk about some of the things that are new here, and some of the things which are why some people consider Zorin one of your best alternatives. And so let's go ahead and have a look at the basic system here. So First, this is a Linux system based on Ubuntu with a highly modified GNOME desktop. So we are using GNOME, of course, and does it tell us exactly what version? No, it doesn't. But we are using GNOME inside of this, and what this is going to give us is a lot of those modern features and a lot of that modern feel and display. Going into your settings, now they've done some things like they've modified your settings to make things a lot easier to find. For example, you go into settings, and last I knew, all of these were under like a separate thing for hardware. Some of these things were hard to find. So Zorin did a really good job of improving GNOME's settings panel to really find things more quickly. Wi-Fi, network, Bluetooth, displays being at the top. You used to have to dig into panels, even on the modern versions of GNOME. You have to dig into those panels to find those. It really is kind of annoying. But inside of here, we have our displays, and you can see what we have our displays set at. There's also a built-in night mode there as well, so you can set that if you are inclined to such things. Here's your power, and then you can see we are plugged into our power supply. It looks like it's charging a little bit, and then you can see all the different settings that we have. Here's your power savings and things like that. As far as our multitasking, there is a hot corner that is turned off by default, and there are active screen edges that are also turned off by default. You can turn those on if you are using those, and ultimately all of your workspaces and things like that, these are done the same way that they are done on your basic GNOME. Now they do have under the Zorin appearance, which is a separate application. So you click into here, and if you happen to hit the appearance from the settings panel, they do have the Zorin appearance. This is one of the standout things that makes Zorin a lot different from the UI perspective. You go in here and you have a number of different ways to make your changes. This is your more modern Windows where we don't have a task manager. This one down here is where we have a lot more of a task manager setting. I'll go ahead and keep this one on because that is more of my preference here. We have more like a Mac type settings as well. I think this one's more like a Mac settings. Now, if you want to pay for the Pro, which some people, particularly if you really like the Zorin project, I'd encourage you to donate to it, if not buy the Pro. There are a lot more desktop options you have, including they are creating a brand new one, which is based on the new redesigned Linux Mint Cinnamon menu item. So you have those. As far as your theme, there is a number of different things. You can manually choose your icons or things like that, or just use your default here. So we have day, night, which you can do sunset to sunrise, which is going to use your current location set to change it based on when it is it daytime or is it nighttime? Kind of like a car GPS will do that. Or you can just manually switch to your dark mode over here. And you can see that some of the wallpapers that they have will adapt themselves. This one, of course, it selects the day and the night of the same mountain scene. So that's actually really cool. So that is a nice thing. Obviously, not every wallpaper desktop does that. It's just kind of the default. And then they did add two new ones here. They added the yellow and they added the brown. Those are two new ones. Let me show you these under the light mode just so you can see what they look like. Those are two new ones that they added based on feedback. I'll go ahead and keep it on the light mode for here. I just think it's a little easier to see. Let's go to effects. So there's enable animations. So, you know, what makes it look really nice going up and down. And then there's jelly mode as well, which, well, maybe there's jelly mode. I'm not sure. Apparently jelly mode is not working in this setup. I'm not going to try these other ones. I don't want to risk anything I didn't already test. As far as your desktop, do you want icons on the desktop? The default is actually turned on, but there's nothing there. So you can come over here and you can toggle your desktops. And you can go ahead and do that. And then you can choose between tiny, small, standard, and large icon sizes. Then under your windows, where do new windows appear? So you can do a centered, or you can do centered or spread them out. And one of the things, as far as managing windows that they built into this new version, this is a new feature here, is when you have a menu that can be maximized, you can, of course, push it all the way up to the top. It'll maximize screens and things that we've seen like these in the past, or auto arrange. But now you can come up to here and not quite throw it to the top, but just near the top. You can see that you have new options to say where you want it. So if you want to tile your windows in different ways, so they've given us a new way to do that. So this is actually a really cool, neat new tiling feature that they've given us in order to arrange your windows accordingly. So that is actually a nice new feature in this new version of Zorin. As far as your online accounts, they do give us access to your Microsoft 365 plus OneDrive. So if you are still tied into that Microsoft ecosystem looking to get out, you can still use those Microsoft 365 and OneDrive synchronization accounts over here. Of course, you can go with the more open source route and do Nextcloud like I like to do. And so you can do that. There's also your basic Microsoft. So this is... of course, you want to sign in with your browser. That's exciting. And then your Google accounts as well. So you can go ahead and sign into those different accounts and allow various things to sync and to connect. Now, one of the other things that Zorin does is it has built into it the Zorin Connect. This is actually, well, that's turned off. Turn it on there. What this is going to do is this is going to give us an app, and you can see you can get it on either Google Play or the F-Droid store. So, you know, if you have a standard Google device, you can just download it from the Play Store, or if you're doing more free and open source entirely like I do, I can click this button, get it on F-Droid. What this is going to do is it's going to download the app to your phone, and then utilizing your local network, if both computers are on the same network, then all of your notifications and different things can be synced directly to the computers. So instead of, if your phone beeps or you get a text message, instead of having to stop what you're doing on your computer and pick up your phone, then you will actually have the ability to see that and even reply to that on the desktop as well. And so that is a nice feature for people wanting to use such things. I personally don't use those, but that is my personal take on it. As far as integration with software, they do give us both snap and flat packages available. So let me go ahead and search for Audacity, because I believe this is available in all formats. So if I go and pull up Audacity, then you can see we have a flat pack option, we have a snap option, a couple snap options, and then you also have the app. So this is one of the things that is nice, is they give us that GNOME software store, which is not my favorite store, but it is properly configured to work with all of these different software sources. Meaning that as long as you can learn the difference between a repository package, which is my personal preference, a flat pack or a snap, and if you don't really care too much where you're getting your software from, then this is a really nice, compelling option, as it's going to give you the best overall choice of where to install your software. You'll see it is defaulting there to FlatHub. I'm not sure exactly why that is. I personally like the packages down here. That might be something we can change in the settings. I don't know. I didn't have a look at that. Let's go ahead and have a look at our preferences. So you can automatically check for and download updates, or do it all manually. You can just provide update notifications and show only free software and show only verified developers. So this is kind of taking the opposite approach as Linux Mint. The default will show all software, but if you toggle that on, it'll only show the verified. So Linux Mint will only show you by default the verified, giving you the option to toggle a button to show the unverified as well. And so that is nice as far as the individual software choices, where your software is coming from. So we do have a system that is very nice and full compliant. You can see here that it does install the Brave browser by default, and I checked. This is not a flat pack. In Zorin's custom repository, they have actually packaged Brave as an apt package. So for those that want to use the Brave browser but are disappointed with the fact it's oftentimes only as a flat pack, you actually have the option using Zorin, and that is the default browser, meaning that this is one of those few distributions that says, yeah, Firefox, we don't really like the things you're doing, and they give us Brave by default. Now, of course, you can install Firefox. That is not a problem. In fact, I do want to see, though, I did not check from the software store which versions of Firefox they are giving us, because many distributions are now giving us the Here's keep separate Firefox. Let's go with this one here. So you have the Flat Hub, or we have the apt package. Now, I don't know if the apt package, I don't know if this apt package is actually going to be a packaged Firefox, or if they're using Ubuntu's, which actually downloads a snap. I have no idea, and I did not check that. Remember, this is based on Ubuntu. Now, it does say it's from Zorin OS, so presumably they are packaging Firefox as well. So that is actually, they do have some nice options here as far as that. Default software, so just having a look at, here's your accessories. They have a weather app. Let's see what the weather app looks like. Search for a city. Let's see, I'm recording this somewhere near Kearney, Nebraska. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Oh, there you go. Okay, that looks pretty reasonable. So nice weather app there in the accessories. I don't like how I have to click through the menu so much. Now, I installed Blue Recorder. That's one of the applications I installed. I have Image Viewer and Libre Draw. We have the Brave web browser. We have the Remote Desktop Remna package. Web apps. This is the one that they are allowing you to. They're allowing you to connect. Very much like we've done in Linux Mint and Peppermint OS we talked about in the past. You can create an entire application from a website. So think of your Office 365 accounts and things like that that you would like to sign in with using those. We do have LibreOffice installed by default, and they did give us Evolution. This is actually my favorite mail application. It's very much like the old style of Outlook. This is the type of email application I really like to use, and so I'm very pleased that they give us this one here, and it does work well, look nice with the theme. And they do give us again the whole suite of LibreOffice. We have the contacts that will of course sync with any online accounts that you have plugged in by default. Sound and video, we have Presario. I'm not sure why they give us that by default. That does require you to have a built-in CD or DVD player. Not everybody has that these days, but hey, it's there. I installed Simple Screen Recorder, although we're using Blue Recorder for the reasons I mentioned at the start of this segment here. And then there's a number of different tools in here as well. So there is what we have as far as inside of Zorin OS, as far as the desktop itself. Now, I did want to mention a couple of other things here that are inside of the release notes. And some of these things we've mentioned. Let me just go ahead and pull this up in the website just so I can show you. So if we just do Zorin OS beta as a basic search here, and okay, well, this Brave is not giving us good search results. Let's go to Start Page, because that's giving us the beta for 17. I'm looking for the beta for 18. Let's go Zorin OS beta. This is literally what I've done every other search engine. I didn't have to type the 18. Brave, fix your browser search results. What I did want to mention is for people looking to switch to Windows, as we mentioned at the very beginning of the video here, is one of the things that they've done is they have set to detect if you're trying to install Windows applications. And effectively what they're going to do is they have built this giant list of things that people might want to install, from LibreOffice to Adobe Suite. Obviously .exe files do not work on Linux unless they have Wine installed, and I don't believe Zorin does at this point in time. But what it'll do is, you'll see here this user tried to install Office setup.exe, and it says, hey, you can either use LibreOffice on, which is already pre-installed, or Microsoft Office 365. And so here, if you click this button, it would go back and launch the Office 365 on a web browser, which you can create with a web app. And that's actually what they mentioned up here with the web apps. So you can create the web apps for all those different tools that you might want to use. But they have over 170 apps that people are most commonly try to install on Linux, even though they're Windows executables, whereas on most Linux systems, that just fizzles and doesn't do anything, or says warning, or select an application, open this, whatever it is. What Zorin actually does, which is a really good user-friendly, is it suggests you something else to use that's compatible with Linux, or a solution like running it on the web like you have over there. And so that really is the one major thing on the site I wanted to mention here while we were looking at the desktop itself. So there is that, and we'll jump over and have some concluding thoughts here in a moment. So Zorin OS is a very good distribution. It is one of my favorites. There are a few reasons why I still do recommend Linux Mint over it, but just having a look at what we see, the major benefits that we have of Zorin OS are going to be that you have a lot more software with the Snap Store embedded in there as well. And if you do not really care about snaps, that's fine. I personally do not like snaps. I don't like their distribution model and things like that. So I'm happy with Linux Mint giving us just Flatpak as the option. But I really haven't had an issue of not being able to find software in a long time. I'm still to this day finding software that's freely available in the standard repositories that still meets my needs. It's very interesting to see. The other thing about Zorin is it does run Wayland by default. Now, Wayland is trying to solve a legitimate problem in the Linux world. You might hear some controversy over X versus Wayland. Wayland is really being pushed on a lot of people in a way in which some people don't even really want it. And one of the challenges of Wayland is, while it is trying to solve a legitimate problem, it's doing so in an overly heavy-handed way. And it means that some applications just won't work. It is a regression backwards in Linux. Just for example, the screen recording that we just watched, I couldn't use the software I wanted to use, which is Simple Screen Recorder, which works flawlessly everywhere, instantly, perfectly, as long as you're not running Wayland. But as soon as you get to Wayland, it no longer works. And the developer, it's not that easy to fix it, because you'd have to fix it in every little tiny place it is. It's not like one little source fixes it. It's a patchwork of different fixes. So I'm stuck with the Blue Recorder, which is the only other simple screen recorder to really work. But even that, it was a deeply frustrating thing to work, because I had to sit there and keep on pushing a wait button. I pushed it about 100 times because it takes about 10 minutes for that file, once I push the stop recording button, to actually save it to the desktop. And it would just sit here and keep on prompting, the application seems to be closing. Would you like to force it to close, or would you like to wait? I literally had to push that wait button hundreds of times just to save that stupid 15 or so minute file, just to show you guys how the desktop works. That is one of many regressions that Wayland gives us. And that's one of the reasons I like Linux Mint, that they said, hey, we understand Wayland is coming. We're working on it experimentally, but our system by default is still X, which works perfectly fine. And most people are not going to have an issue with the problem that Wayland is trying to solve. So that is certainly the case. The other reasons I like Linux Mint better over Zorin is that Zorin itself, first being based on GNOME, I don't like the GNOME desktop environment, even the heavily modified. I still feel like there's just places it's just overwhelming in trying to get to things, versus Linux Mint, which is just simply quick and there. It feels like it's a lot heavier than GNOME is as a desktop environment. Additionally, while Zorin does have all these appearance switchers allowing you to quickly switch to different layouts, you really don't do that a lot. And so once you get your desktop set up, most people generally don't change it. So it's more of a niche thing that I wish I could just kind of set it, or say, hey, I'm going to install it with this, and then hey, application, get out of my way. You're taking up system resources simply being here. That's not a terribly good reason. It's not like it sits there draining your memory in the background. But the point is that it is a bell and whistle that you only ring once. and then you don't use that again. Whereas Linux Mint, it just is what it is, and out of the box it works really, really well. And so I don't think you're going to go wrong with either one of these desktop options. If you're going to switch from Windows to one of these, I would definitely pick one of these two. But Zorin itself is really good for the reasons that we've illustrated within this video. So let me know your thoughts about it. Are you on Team Zorin, Team Linux Mint, or Team something else? And let me know what that's something else in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.